You want America back? It's about time to start kicking some MAGA ass. Chris Graham here, Augusta Free Press. Now, friends and AFP readers, even here in the AFP home offices, are in shock and awe over the pace of the efforts to dismantle American democracy coming from the Trump MAGA team. And all I can say is buckle in. It's not going to get any better from here anytime soon. Now, I'm going to explain what is going on right now in DC by telling you a story about the ongoing political battle behind the scenes at the University of Virginia. And give me just a little bit of leeway here because what I tell you will make sense in just about a minute. It's about how one of the Youngkin appointees to the UVA Board of Visitors tells me how that's going to play out. Now, the way it was presented to me about the internal politics at UVA, the Youngkin BOV appointees are assuming that Abigail Spanberger, the Democrat, is going to win the governor election in November. And even though it's a tradition that the new governor waits until the following June to begin making appointments to boards of visitors at schools, I mean a lot of things across the Commonwealth, um, that's just tradition, not state law. And the Youngkin appointees are working under the assumption that Spanberger will fire them all and start over with a clean slate of her own appointees. I think that's only fair given what Donald Trump's been doing in D.C. So, what's good for the goose, good for the gander. So the Youngkin appointees are working under the presumption that they have until just next January to get done what they need to do to, in their minds, reverse the policy direction instituted by the appointees from the McAuliffe and Northam years. So if you see what I'm getting at here, good. If, just let me spell it out anyway, though. Trump Musk has a little longer to plunder the federal government than the folks in Virginia do. The 2026 midterms are 22 months away from when I'm talking right now, not 10 months away like the Virginia election. Um, and it's almost certain that Republicans are going to lose bigly. Let's use a Trump made up word there. It wouldn't surprise me to see Democrats actually approach a veto-proof majority in the Senate. Is how much of a bloodbath I foresee happening for the R's. Okay, so lesson one that MAGA world learned, and I'll give them credit, and they deserve some credit from Trump 1.0 was if we're going to dismantle the federal government, we've got to work fast. They dawdled too much in those first 2 years, couldn't get out of their own way, and by the time they got figured out how to do what they wanted to do, the Democrats had seized control of Congress again and blocked everything they were trying to do. Um, it was in the 2018 midterms, I should say. So we have this ongoing flurry, thus, of executive orders from Trump disguised as attempts to rewrite federal laws and the U.S. Constitution, the effort to close down the federal agencies that should get people involved in it locked up, the attempt to halt trillions of dollars in congressionally authorized federal funding that would lead to impeachment and removal if we even had anything resembling a functioning Republican Party. The last 2 weeks have felt like an escalating game of whack-a-mole. I can just tell you from a media perspective, there's so much going on every hour of the day, at night, on weekends. They're working hard and fast, and it's been made easier by the fecklessness of congressional Democrats who've largely been playing a game of go along to get along, and that's the reason we're here in the first place, of course. Um, I say all that to say it's up to us, we the people, to tell the Neville Chamberlains in DC, and I'm talking about the Democrats here, the appeasers who are afraid of the sound of their own footsteps, that they either need to get off their butts or get out of the way. MAGA Republicans wrote the playbook for gumming up the works, procedural things like senators blocking unanimous consent of presidential nominees, using the filibuster to hold up legislation, filing lawsuits in courts overseen by friendly judges to use the court system to put a hold on executive actions and new laws. More from the MAGA playbook, and this is where you can fit in here. We deluge congressional offices with calls. We gather in the hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands outside their offices on the steps of the U.S. Capitol. We block roadways, airports, train stations in and around DC. Protest outside their houses. I mean, come on. There's things we can do. We got to make it uncomfortable for them. They've been making it uncomfortable for us dating back to the Obama election. Yeah, we can go back to the Clinton years. And we respond with nice words. That's all we do. We need to put economic pressure on the people who write the checks to keep these politicians in power. In essence, make them choose. Are those tax breaks and government contracts worth more to you than the revenues from what you sell in the marketplace? If they are, good. We'll spend our money somewhere else anyway, either way. Or you can decide to be on our side. On an interpersonal level, The people in your lives who continue to stand on the side of the wannabe oligarchy need to be confronted with the reality of what they're doing to the others in your life whose lives are being threatened by the restrictions on abortion. I've got a niece in West Virginia right now who's going through a very difficult pregnancy. She lives in a red state, West Virginia. I'm very fearful for her health, obviously the health of her baby too, because of the restrictions on reproductive rights in red states. And that's a personal thing that a lot of us feel if we have friends, relatives, people close to us in red states going through pregnancies, whether they have issues or not, something might pop up. There's the mass roundups of legal immigrants without criminal histories. That's something else that's, personal for us and personal for lots of folks who are watching this right now. People who have no reason to have to fear are fearing for their lives. They're feared they're going to be hauled onto a plane in handcuffs and deposited somewhere that in some case, I mean, they left there for lots of good reasons. People who left South American countries where political issues forced people to leave. They're going to be sent back there? This makes no sense. There's executive orders putting federal funding for mental health care and social safety net on pause. None of this makes any sense. I get the shock and awe. I feel your pain. I'm there with you. Just know it's not over until we say it's over. And if you ask me, it's not even started yet, okay? Trump Musk assumes that the other side will let it get away with murder because theirs is the only side willing to break the rules to get what it wants. What I'm telling you is the gloves need to come off. You want America back? It's time to start kicking some MAGA ass.